Okay, hello YouTube, this is Ahi. So this time I will explain the difference between compressor before EQ and EQ before compressor. So the main difference between compressor before EQ and EQ before compressor is that when you are using the EQ before compressor, you can use stuff like high pass filter that will get rid of all the low end garbage that you might have in your audio file. So for example, I'm using a kick drum in this example, and let's hear the original. If we go compressor before EQ, we have a problem that if we want to have the kick drum right in our face, we can do that easily. But the main problem here is that it will easily distort. Let's hear this. I have about 12 dB of gain reduction with the T-Rex Classic Clipper. I'm using this one because it distorts really easily. And it does sound like it's really in your face, and it sounds really aggressive. So in that way, distortion is really good. But when it comes to low-end distortion, it's really bad. If you know how distortion works, this is how this kick drum looks on a graph. Here we have our low end. And when it comes to distortion, it adds harmonics. So the 62 adds the first, second, and third harmonies at octave differences. So what you are essentially doing is that you will create a lot of mud here, which is usually sounding really bad. So let's boost that area with an EQ. So we get that kind of, I don't know how to describe it, like it sounds really muddy and roomy. And without it. So we don't actually want that. And if we listen to it again, it gives us a lot of that mid-band distortion. So if we would cut out that just a bit before, and if we put it after, now it has less the mud there, but it still sounds distorted. Here is the track with just the EQ. So you might think, but now it sounds kind of weak. But then we add the compressor. I have the same settings, except I have a bit more drive in, so that it also gets the 12 dB of gain reduction. Okay, it's this one. So it's getting the 6 dB of gain reduction. But I set the output to -6, and after that I have compensated at the same frequency, the low end, by 3 dB. So we are not driving the low end as hard to the compressor, but we are getting about the same amount of low end. And let's compare to the other one. It sounds way less distorted, but it has very similar spectral footprint. If we check, this is the EQ before compressor and after. Clear. And here is the one with only the compressor. So we are using the same amount of spectral space, but it sounds way more cleaner if you are looking after that. So if somebody says that you need to have 10 dB of gain reduction, but it doesn't say what kind of gain reduction you want to have it, because They both have the same amount of gain reduction, but they sound way different when it comes to the end result. So, but what about if you want to do something else? Usually high pass filter is really good when it comes to low end, but on a kick drum it may not be. So if you are doing like recorded drums, the low end, like say 0 to 100 or 200 hertz, depending on the instrument. If it's an acoustic instrument, so not an amplified instrument like a guitar cabinet, they will usually always have this kind of curve, so that it has the timbre, then here's some mud, and here is the attack of the instrument. So when it comes to distorted guitars, it usually has like some rumble here, then there's the low end, and then there's like constant straight line, and then it dips out. So it has a lot of mud in this area because it's an amplified instrument, so it has a lot of distortion. But anyway, I hope you learned something new from this tutorial, and thank you for watching, and make good music.